the finest we've ever created.
Hello my dear friends, and welcome back to another Bad Batch video. So let's dive straight into it. The episode starts with a chase. The Bad Batch are trying to find Cad Bane while Crosshair is on their tail. This ends pretty quickly because the Bad Batch jump to hyperspace, effectively saving Crosshair's arc for a different day. We then cut to Omega, who's been taken prisoner on Cad Bane's ship, and throughout the episode there's a lot of back and forth between Omega and Todo 360. Now in this scene we get confirmation that Cad Bane is working directly for Lama Su, but back on Kamino, as I mentioned last week, there is a lot of internal dispute. When discussing who should pick up the asset, which is Omega, Nala Se opts to do it, but her Prime Minister does not trust her due to her personal interest in Omega's well-being. Instead, he sends Torn Wei. Now what's really interesting is that Nala Se seems to have a lot of sympathy for Omega. We saw Nala save Omega in episode 1 Aftermath, and now she wants only to ensure her safety. Lama Su makes his plans very clear. He wants to extract the genetic material from Omega and then kill her. This triggers Nala Se to counter her Prime Minister, so she hires Fennec Shand to intercept and defeat Cad Bane in order to rescue Omega. We're going to talk about this in more depth in just a minute. Now back on the Marauder, the Bad Batch are discussing why Omega might be so valuable, and that's when Tech reveals that he's examined Omega's genetic profile more carefully. He's made a giant discovery, that Omega has pure first generation clone DNA, which basically means that she's a direct clone of Jango Fett, making her Boba Fett's sister. In fact, they even name drop Boba, which strengthens the idea that he's going to be making an appearance later on. But there is something much more significant here. I think Lucasfilm are being very strategic in making Omega directly linked to Boba Fett. With the Book of Boba Fett coming out this December, we'll have become very acquainted with Omega by that point, and I definitely think we're going to see her in that series. In a big way, with this confirmation, she is a Fett, and might become a bounty hunter in her own right. Now later on in the episode, we see Cad Bane approach a greyish-white planet that has buildings that are very similar to those on Kamino. Unfortunately, the audio description and subtitles don't reveal anything, but based on what happens later on in the episode, I'm 99% sure this planet is on the Lido system. On the planet, Omega escapes from Cad Bane and she comes to a panel. She says that it looks like the ones on Topoka City, which is the name of Kamino's capital. If you read the Attack of the Clones novelization or the Age of Republic Jango Fett comic, you'll be very familiar with this name. At this point, Cad Bane comes for Omega, but as expected, Fennec Shand intercepts. Now it's also revealed that when Fennec came in, she shot Torn Wei to death, who was there for Omega and to give payment to Cad Bane. So in other words, the famous Kaminoan from the Clone Wars and episode 2 Attack of the Clones is officially dead. I just thought I'd pay her my respects. So after a fight sequence, Omega finds herself in the green cloning room. This was the big moment of the episode and a scene which really needs explaining. So that's what I'm going to do. First of all, it's worth noting that we're not on Kamino, but rather within the Kamino system. In canon, Kaminoans don't have off-world bases, but this seems like a cloning facility that the Empire commissioned the Kaminoans to make, and I think Palpatine is behind it. We see all kinds of creatures in tanks, notably a very large Kaminoan which falls on Fennec when she tries to take out Todo 360. Now before some of you say it isn't a Kaminoan, it absolutely is. Just turn on the audio description and you'll see what I mean. So what's going on in this scene? Well, to put it simply, at this point in the timeline, Palpatine had already begun cloning what he called abominations. He was chopping up and mixing up different creatures' DNA to see how far he could push his experiments. And that's what we see here. The major reason that it's near Kamino is because he trusted the master cloners themselves to carry out his works. Now a big moment in this episode is the repulsion that Omega feels seeing all of this. She's aware that she's a clone, but she doesn't want to be taken in by the Kaminoans just to be a genetic experiment. She wants to live and never be reminded of her clone past again. The Bad Batch then of course rescue Omega, and Fennec Shand absolutely kicks Cad Bane's ass. I've heard that some people have issues with this, but I just think it fortifies the credibility of Fennec Shand's abilities that will come in handy in the Book of Boba. Fennec Shand speaks to Nala Se at the end of the episode and tells her what happened. Nala Se doesn't want Fennec to go after Omega because she's now safe in the hands of Clone Force 99. And so basically that was the episode, guys. As I made clear at the start, I loved this one, and to be honest, apart from the premiere of the series, this is the one that felt clear. He basically needs her out of sight from his plans because she's getting in the way of retrieving Omega. The great thing about this episode is that it ends with a blank slate. It's not clear where we're headed next week, but that's the great thing. The show could go in any direction. I can definitely see the Bad Batch heading to a new planet to refuel, and a different bounty hunter is going to intercept them. The tension between the Empire and the Kaminoans is going to worsen because Lama Su is running out of time, and conscription seems to be working. Project Warmantle is getting very close. Now the great thing is that we know episode 10 is going to be called Common Ground, and this in and of itself gives us some hints. It might turn out that the Bad Batch have to ally themselves with the remaining separatists, and this is the episode that could take us to Raxus. I just want to say a huge thank you to Jennifer Corbett, Dave Filoni, Brad Rao, and the writer of this episode, Matt Mitch, who has a lot of amazing writing credits with the Clone Wars. The team behind the Bad Batch are absolutely amazing, and they're keeping us entertained every single Friday. As with all episodes, guys, I will be making further follow-up videos to this one once I gather more of my thoughts together, so don't miss out and make sure to subscribe and hit the bell for more Bad Batch content. But what did you guys think? Did you enjoy episode 9 Bounty Lost? What were your thoughts? How would you rate this one? Let me know in the comments down below. Personally, I'm going to give this episode a 9 out of 10. I would have to say this is my third favourite episode after the premiere and last week's one. I really couldn't ask for more from this series, and with every episode it exceeds my expectations. So as I say, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and give this video a big fat thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Also, please be sure to check out my Patreon, the link is in the description, and over there you'll find content that's not found here on YouTube. Otherwise, I'm Star Wars Meg, wishing you all a phenomenal rest of the day, no matter where you dwell in the galaxy. May the Force be with you always.
Times have changed. Things were clearer when we were just soldiers.
Why aren't you fighting for the Empire?
We're different.